Can black people survive culturally and physically in America? Can we ever be a part of the existing white institutions, or should we be developing our own? Can we as a people develop solutions to our dilemma fast enough to counteract the present rate of growth of the oppressive factors built into this society by institutional white racism? As black people, we must deal with the issue. Is it too late?
I don't care about, the whole concept of a power struggle between two black folks, neither one having any power, is absolutely ridiculous, and points out the basic problem that confronts all organizations that have been speaking here, other than CORE. Even the Muslim harangue did not deal with the basic problem of the black man's powerlessness. Black people don't have any power. Abernathy and Jesse Jackson can wrestle from here to Los Angeles. They're still not dealing with power. Black people are powerless. They've been put outside of the whole white power structure, and all the organizations, the NAACP, Urban League, SCLC, National Council, Negro Women, all of them are talking as though black people have power. Black people don't have any power unless we can begin to build black institutions and realize that we're dealing with a power struggle for survival. All these organizations are leading us straight to hell and genocide. And Dr. Abernathy ought to understand it couldn't be a power struggle because neither one of them have any power. NAACP has no power. Urban League has no power. No black organization, no black people in America have power. They're fighting for survival from a powerless position, flat on their back, begging white folks, and that was almost the tenor of the Muslim position. They were begging white folks, please sell us some land, give us some land, let us exist. White folks are good. That's a self-hate kind of thing that black folks find themselves degenerating into because black people have no power and they have to beg white folks to give them whatever they want. And I think black people and black Christian nationalism says we have to approach the whole problem in terms of power. Black people have to begin to build institutions. Every institution that exists belongs to white people, was built by white people, and serves the interests of white people. And for black organizational leaders to be sitting there talking as though they have power, as though they represent something, we want to represent everybody, we want to bring everybody together, we want to build a beautiful America. We don't want to build no kind of beautiful America. We want power for black people, and we're going to have to fight for it. It demands confrontation and the willingness to do anything necessary to get power. And we got to take it away from white people. White people are not going to give black people anything. Politically, economically, or any other way, black man is no longer necessary in America. And a white man is hell-bent on genocide. So we have to understand we've got to build institutional power to deal with the white man who has decided to destroy it.
And is directed to Reverend Clegg. If there is no difference between your organization and that of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, why don't you join forces?
Well, that's, kind of a ridiculous question. There are differences between black Christian nationalism and Muslims who have a Muslim position. We're willing to join forces with anybody who rejects integration and is willing to take a programmatic approach to the solving of the black man's problems. We have to understand that the black man is in a slave culture. That's why so much of the talk that's coming out here is coming out of a slave culture, where black people feel inferior, where the white man's declaration of black inferiority has been accepted by black people. That's why black leaders talk out of a slave culture whenever they open their mouths. And their organizations, even when they've learned that black people have changed and they start to try to sound like they're opposed to integration, begin to talk in gobbledygook because they really are working toward integration, and that's what they believe in. So I would work with Elijah Muhammad. He's closer to trying to do something than most of these other organizations that are represented here, with the exception of Roy Ennis.
The next question is for the panel from Reverend Leo Johnson in Las Vegas, Nevada. What do you envision as the major issue facing the black community? Having identified the issue, of all of the announced and unannounced presidential candidates, who do you assume would work to alleviate the problem?
Obviously, we got to face one thing, that all the questions are growing out of the same distortion of the truth. No president has any power. America is not run by presidents, but by people whose names are never even in the newspaper. They're run by a white institutional establishment, and the institutions control how people act. We've elected this president to keep us out of war and this one to keep us out of war, and we stay in war because the president has nothing to do with any kind of decision. So for black people to be sitting around trying to pick a president who's going to solve the black man's problems is totally ridiculous. The black man's got to solve his own problems, and the president is not going to do it for him.
Now, this question is directed toward the panel, and I hope you can be brief, whoever answers it. From Richard Green in Cincinnati, Ohio. What is the opinion of the panel on busing to achieve school integration?
That's not even the question. The question is education itself. Quality education does not necessarily mean going into a white school or where the students are predominantly white. No school in America, other than the Muslim school, could be accused of teaching black children anything that would be helpful to black children. It doesn't make any difference whether you bus them out to a exclusive white suburb or leave them in the ghetto. They're still going to be learning the same nonsense that has destroyed the black man's mind. The black man does not understand the whole question of power because he has been destroyed intellectually by white education, and white education is not even touched by busing.
Thank you. Now, the next question is the similar question phoned in from 3 cities and 3 people. Curtis Richardson in Columbus, Ohio, Joseph Jackson in Boston, Massachusetts, and Ruth Scott in Manhattan, New Jersey. The question is to the panel. Can the panel function as a group in resolving problems for black people?
No, the panel can't function as a group because the panel doesn't have any position. Most of the panel is integrationist, which is outmoded and obsolete and will tend to destroy black people. The members of the panel who believe in the black man building his own life, building his own nation, are separatists and cannot possibly function with a panel of integrationists. Integrationists are going to have to learn through the process of the white man's efforts at genocide that integration will not work. White people do not want to integrate with black people. Now you can holler about if they will do this and if they will do that. White people are not going to integrate. They're not going to deal in terms of morality or moral values. They're going to deal as they've been doing in terms of the self-interest of white people. And as soon as black people learn that, then black people can begin to deal in terms of the self-interest of black people.
I think the question is to the point of functional, operational unity.
It's impossible to function together if you don't have the same position. How can a separatist and an integrationist who are both black function in terms of a white man who's out to destroy both of us?
Mr. Baraki, another question for anyone on the panel. Can blacks live under a capitalistic society? Shirley Waits in Philadelphia.
We've been living under it, but it's a process by which we die slowly. We have not been living very well, and the black man is going to have to cease being purely concerned with consumption and begin to go back and build his own type of economic system, pulling himself up by his bootstraps, giving service, working, doing the kind of communal thing that's now being developed in Africa called Ujima, where communal work programs where black people contribute both money and time to build for black people.
Next question from Joe Tex from Nova Scotia, Texas, for the Empire panel. Why can't we find one black leader or organization through which we can all join forces and unite in the common struggle?
That's the basic black ridiculous approach to the whole problem. There's no such thing as any one black leader who's going to lead black people until black people reject integration and begin to put together a black nation with power.
Black people have 2 sets of goals and aspirations. Until we identify those, we cannot talk about that kind of unity.
Thank you. The next question ties in somewhat from William Reed in Plainville, New Jersey. Is there a common ground, then, that anyone can agree upon for the advancement of all blacks?
Yeah, to get some power. Our powerlessness is the thing we suffer from. Either we escape from powerlessness and get power to control our own destiny, or we end up the victims of genocide.
I think that there